Last session, we tackled about light and shadow and the natural light, which referred to sunlight, moonlight, and starlights. And today we will discuss about the artificial lights and the two parts of using shading with lines and colors. Now let's get started. Artificial light. Artificial light sources are designed to either replicate daylight or evening light. For daylight, we have the sun. For evening light, we have the moon and we have the star. So this part are the artificial light, include the light from the candle, lantern, and light bulb. When light reflects from an object, parts of the object will look bright and clearly visible, and other parts will appear darker because they receive less light. In drawing, these darker parts of objects are called shadow. Light and shadow plays an important detail in your drawing to look more realistic. Again, for artificial light, we have candle, light bulb, and lantern. And aside those artificial light that you can see on your screen, there are more other artificial light that produces light source, like flashlight, phones, TVs, and many more. Shading with lines. Shadows always appear in opposite the direction of light. Line shading is a basic skill and only requires a general knowledge of light and shadow. Two drawing techniques to create light and shadows in art are to provide shading with lines and to shade with color. You can use different materials such as pencil, pens, marker pens, and paintbrush. Those pictures that you can see on your screen are the example of pictures shaded with line but using different tools. The first one is line shading using pencil. Next, line shading by pen. Line shading with marker pen. And line shading using paintbrush. So each tools shows different texture and identity. Shading with lines. When light comes from the right-hand side, begin with the line shading in 3 steps. From light, moderate, or medium, and dark shading. Remember that shadows will always appear on the opposite side of an object where the light cannot reach. Provide shading by the following the 3 steps. The first one, shade objects in the picture by hatching away from the light. In this case, shadows are cast on the left-hand side of the bird. So begin shading the back of the head and work down to the tail. For number 2, darken the shaded area by cross-hatching the lines you draw in number 1. For the third step, add more detail by darkening the shadows with additional cross-hatching. Try to make the shading blend in with the overall picture. So those are the 3 steps on how to shade in lines. The first one, light. Second, moderate or medium shade. And the last one is darker shading. Using the 2 techniques, the hatching and cross-hatching. Shading with color. Shading with color. As well as line shading, we can also create light and shadow by shading with color. Use a lighter shade with light strike and darker tones for the shadows. Using different types of colors such as colored pencil, crayon, watercolor, and poster color for shading will give your picture different texture. Those pictures that you can see on your screen are the effects produced by shading with different types of color. The first one, color shading using colored pencil. Next, color shading with crayon. Color shading with watercolor. And the last one, color shading using poster color. So using different tools for coloring, it gives also different texture and feelings. So I hope you understand, especially shading in lines and its different tools like pencil, pen, marker pen, and paintbrush for shading lines. And for shading with color, we have watercolor, colored pencil, crayon, and poster color. And each tools, it gives different textures and emotions to your audience. Thank you for watching and listening. Good luck to your activity next session. Thank you.